Hi, everyone. So I will move a little bit away from IT, which we've heard in the last two presentations, and I will share a couple of stories I have for you about employee engagement, actually about the paradox of employee engagement, where employee engagement activities we do actually lead to greater disengagement. Now, we all know that there is numerous books, articles, internet pages that tell us what great impact employee engagement has on companies' performance. Towers and Watson and Gallup report an improved operating income by 19% over the last 12 months for the companies which have high levels of employee engagement, while the companies on the other side of the spectrum are reported to decline by 33%. Harvard Business Review says that the productivity of high engaged companies have 22 higher productivity. Not only that it influences financial results, it also has beneficial results on employees and customers with lower absenteeism and turnover, fewer safety incidents, and fewer defects. I did additional research, and the World Wide Web offers so much analysis, charts, graphs, calculations about this importance. It's no wonder that this is really the new HR fad, the talk of the day, and something that really every company, at least the bigger ones, really put a lot of focus and energy into. But if we are measuring this, we need to know what employee engagement is. And actually, initially, it became a measurement where they tried to link the employee satisfaction with the productivity. In the production lines, they dimmed the lights and they see how many products they make. They gave them better chairs and they saw, okay, so what does this mean for the product? And of course, we've come a long way since then. So employee engagement has been redefined so many times by so many authors that the meaning of it has become a bit ambiguous to many. Actually, there are really just a few authors between themselves that agree on what employee engagement actually is. But you know, theory is one thing, and ultimately employee engagement is put into practice in the companies. And don't worry, I'm not going to read through this slide, but these are just a couple of examples how employee engagement is viewed in these companies. And like theory, they also don't agree on what it means. Actually, they have two common denominators, all of them. The first one is outcome. They all agree that this is something that is given by the employee for the benefit of the company. Okay, through great dedication, through passion, through fulfilling our talents to the fullest. But basically, it is given for the benefit of the company. And the second one is, they suggest that, of course, our engaged employees feel a sense of attachment to the company's goals and visions. And this way, they not only perform and give value add to their role, but also to the organization as a whole. Now, for me, this is a very, very limiting concept. It actually suggests that all the employer has to do is reach out and do something in order to engage our employees. There is really little talk about two-way relationship. And of course, for far too long, because of this, leaders worldwide have embraced the employee value proposition. So the based on a very simple logic, where they say, okay, so our engaged employees are really dedicated and they're committed to our organization and they will form a very stable and sustainable workforce. But unfortunately, this comforting paradigm has become a bit of a paradox. And this is this engagement paradox which I'm talking about, where even the best and the most engaged people actually leave our companies. And of course, Siemens also has employee engagement. And where we use is this Towers-Watson engagement concept. This is actually an idea where engagement is actually met in the junction of how we think about the company, what we feel about the company, and how we act within this company, which is, you know, great. And I think everybody does it in a very similar way. And we, like every other company, have created an HR process to follow this employee engagement survey. And what we do is actually, spend a lot of time and a lot of resources in order to see how this is ran. And I've done it so many times. And I want to share a story with you. In one of the workshops that I've been at, which was a team which had a rather low employee engagement, but otherwise performance was wonderful. I came to the workshop, so we invited them and they came into the room and everybody was happy and they were laughing and they were relaxed, and we did the usual workshop. So we presented the results, we identified the critical key points, we said now you, because we want to empower you, identify what is important for you and come out with things to improve by yourself, so where you feel you have the influence. And they had this 1.5 hours and they were drafting things, and we had really constructive conversations during this time. And when the time for presentations came, they came up and said, so what we will do is clean our coffee mugs after ourselves in the kitchen, and we will clean the toilet after ourselves. And mildly put, I was not a happy camper. So I immediately went into the questioning mode. So why are you not using this unique opportunity that the management, the top management is giving you to tell your opinion, to contribute to the company? You live in this company 8 hours per day, every working day. So why are you not, doing something? And I went to solution mode. You have some problems in the company, so I suggest that we do a team building, and we will hire the best trainer in the country, and he will come and he will give us a training on opening and fostering open communication. And after the team building, we will put a nice poster in the kitchen, and underneath the poster, we will give a bowl of bananas every day because we want to foster your well-being in the company. And they were looking at me and said, why? We want you to be engaged. We want to do something with you. And I said, first of all, yes, our results are worse than others. But, it doesn't necessarily mean that we care about those things that we circled with a disagree. On the other side, if we want to hang with each other in our private lives, we will do so. We will go for coffee or beer or something. Okay. And if we want to eat bananas, we will eat bananas and buy our own. And most of all, what we don't want is you putting a poster about fostering open communication, because you will just remind us every day that this is not happening. And Katarina, we like you. You're a nice HR lady. But you are really the wrong person to be asking those questions. These are the right questions, but the wrong person doing it, because the manager should be standing in front of us asking us what we need. For me, this was this aha moment. I stepped back, and so many alarms were going on in my head. And one of it was actually that it got to me. I'm sending anonymous notes to my employees, well, not mine, but our company's employees, and asking them how they feel, how they think, and how they act in our company. And you know what? I've done this before in elementary school. Do you remember those notes? I know what you're going to say. This is simplifying a very complex and a very detailed and structured process. And you're right. It reminds me of this. Unfortunately, one manager actually once aptly told me that we talk about employee engagement all the time. It's like being in a relationship and being asked to talk about the relationship all the time instead of holding hands and just going to the beach. And when you have problems, you buy flowers and candy instead of actually trying to figure out where the real problem is. Unfortunately, sustainable engagement is not an event. It's an experience. It's a culture. Another team that I'm now intensively working with actually also are on that side of the spectrum where they come out of these surveys as not engaged. And when I started working with them, I realized actually they go beyond and above every expectation. Managers, customers, peer expectations. And of course, we are happy. But I asked them, why are you doing it? Come on, sometimes it's not even healthy anymore. And I said, we are saving lives. Excuse me? We are saving lives. And now, let me get this straight with you. They're not doctors. What they do is service healthcare equipment. They feel actually a higher sense of purpose. And here we are very lucky. We work in an industry that is very compelling and that is giving actually our service engineers a higher purpose. And maybe intuitively or unknowingly, because the fluctuation in our company is very low, we gave them mastery. We have invested so much time and money to train them that they have become really, in Europe, the best experts. And we gave them autonomy. We said, you do whatever you do, whatever you need to do to get the job done. We won't, check you so much. And anybody who's read Daniel Pink Drive, you know that mastery, autonomy, and purpose is one of those things which really are the biggest drivers you can give to a person. But I get it. Not all of us work in the industry with really low fluctuation and with compelling, background. But I do think that we should stop thinking about the engagement, how to do the engagement surveys and how to manage them. What we should really do is think about how to create engaging culture, not something that retains all of our employees, but really attract the best in the market. And how we should do it is really manage energy and not engagement. We should build continuous dialogues and not send them service once a year or once every 2 years. We should listen what their needs are and trying to meet them. We should practice partnering, not parenting, like me jumping into solution mode and giving them solutions which are really not fit for their needs. And most of all, we should try to build a backstory, not an action plan. Now, I work at Siemens Healthcare, and I'm a healthineer. It doesn't mean health in ears. It actually means that we are pioneers of healthcare. And we are a fairly new company. We have been around for about 1.5 years. We're still owned 100% by Siemens. So we're a new company with 160-year-old tradition. And we have a new strategy. And what we did, of course, every company in the world, I think, has their own values. We don't. We have our business principles. The 7 very simple and catchy business principles. And they're there to actually guide us and get us closer to the strategy we have. Now, of course, this is all nice and well on paper, but actually, what we did is also we realized what kind of outcome we want each of these business principles to bring us. And not only that, we also wrote down what kind of behavior we expect from our employees. We also asked our colleagues to commit themselves to one of those business principles and ask them, how are you going to live and behave every single day? And of course, again, if we would just leave it at that, it would be a nice internet page or a nice document left somewhere on, a shared folder. But what we have done is actually connected it to different HR processes. We have connected it to performance reviews, to incentivizing, to recognition, to motivation, to talent development, and talent recognition. But what I think is most important, we no longer consider those things as HR topics. We've put the business leaders in the driver's seat and an HR next to them. And I know what you're going to say. You have a unique opportunity to do things like this. You're a new company with 160-year-old tradition. You're a 50,000 company worldwide, but in reality, you have like 300,000 or 400,000 people worldwide employed to do nice PowerPoint presentations and so on, and you can afford not to take the employee engagement surveys. And unfortunately, I have to disappoint you. We still take them. But I keep hopeful. Thank you.